Selamat petang. So daripada Malaysia, saya boleh cakap sikit bahasa Malaysia ya. Tetapi presentation ini saya cakap bahasa English. Maaf saya. Okay, so just to quickly introduce, I'm from NEM. So NEM started as a new economy model. What we actually envisioned was a distributed economy. So what does that mean? That Bitcoin started with proof of work every time you're mining and finding the coins. But what we did was we pre-mined the coins and distributed it to everyone who invested in our early token sale. So now we've been launched since 2015, and we've moved on from our mainnet to the next version, which is Catapult. So this is a presentation more on the future of NEM. The idea of this is that now we're moving from this tagline new economy model, so we don't use this tagline anymore. It's very hard for you to find information about it, but we just call ourselves NEM, and what we are doing is to adopt in enterprises. So anyone who wants to use blockchain technology can easily use NEM, because first, we are API-driven or two-layer architectural. The next version of NEM, it's going to be rewritten in C, C++. It's going to be a 4-tier architectural, which is never seen in a blockchain company. And we do have a white paper on it for more information. So what's in this 4-layer architectural? Basically, the first layer is your blockchain itself. You don't have to worry about it. The blockchain servers just create the blockchain. The second one is the most important one, which is the API server. So what does that do is that it accepts transactions. Because of the speed of this API server, it can accept a lot of transactions at a very high speed. And then the API server will continuously communicate with the blockchain so that it will always be ensuring blocks are created and that the transactions are confirmed. The third layer, although it's not an actual layer, but it's because of the SDKs. So the beauty of this SDKs is now that we are coming out with more open source guidelines to understand that when people come from a JavaScript development, from a Java, PHP skill set, when they use our SDKs, it's going to be a standard throughout. So that it's easier for any developer. Let's just say if you're a company and you hire today a Java programmer, when the Java programmer leaves and the JavaScript programmer joins, he will be able to understand still the same. And then of course the last layer is your applications. Whatever applications that you want to build, you can use them very easily. So here I want to share in this presentation is 2 features. We call it the aggregate transactions and the multi-level multi-sig accounts. So these 2 features are very powerful, and I think in the mainnet currently no one is doing it. I think some have already started with multi-level multi-sig, but aggregate transaction is not done in the blockchain scene. So what does the aggregate transaction do? Here's a very simple scenario, a decentralized swap. So I'm not even talking about blockchain today. Let's just say if we are doing a payment system, we're always doing one kind of transaction. What kind of transaction is that? Push. I'm always pushing something to you. I send you money, you're sending someone money, so it's always push. I can't initiate or make a pull transaction. So pull transaction means I initiate a transaction from you to me. This is never possible in the entire world of online system or even a computer system. So what we're doing here is that there's a pull transaction, aggregate transaction. So let's just say Alice today wants to buy a movie ticket. The movie ticket seller will make a transaction from Alice to them for 100 ZEMs, our native currency, and we will give the voucher or the ticket to Alice. Alice will get a notification saying that she will get the movie ticket for 100 ZEMs. She clicks yes. These 2 transactions happen as one transaction. We call it the aggregate transaction. Very, very powerful. And in a real world use case, how can this apply? So let's just say today you want to buy a high value item, a car. What happens? How does the transaction look like? You will send 50% of the deposit of the car, right? So if you send 50%, what's the risk? The person may not send you the car. But if the person is nice enough and sends you the car, What's the other risk? You may not send the remaining 50% to the seller. So this is always a trust issue. And to solve it, the best way is you meet face to face, you see the car, you like it, you pay on the spot, you shake hands, and you say goodbye, right? So this transaction here is like a face-to-face transaction, but only powerful because it's on the internet and is decentralized. We take this further. Let's just say today you go to a platform like eBay. You want to buy something. You don't know what you're buying, you're just shopping around. So someone wants to sell some license that you're interested in. And you say, okay, I'm interested to buy. So you see at the bottom, the exchange service. What the exchange service is doing is actually initiating a three-way transaction. So the first transaction, she will initiate from the buyer to the seller, 3,000 ZEMs. The second transaction he will initiate also is that the license seller to send the license to the buyer. And the final transaction he will initiate, he will send the buyer to send 6 ZEMs for the service of the exchange service. The buyer will receive a notification saying that she's going to send 3,000 to the license seller and 6 ZEMs to the exchange service. Buyer agrees, and the license sellers will receive a notification saying he's going to get 3,000 ZEMs for the license. Agrees? Again, these 3 transactions happen in one transaction. Very, very powerful. And lastly, one of the things that we saw in the first version of NEM is that everyone always complains about transaction fees. Where am I going to buy ZEMs? Where am I going to fund for ZEMs? So this is always a problem. So today, if I'm a service provider and I have a lot of ZEMs, all I need to do is provide an app for people to use NEM without paying transaction fees. So Alice wants to send some US dollars to Bob. Use the application to say, okay, I want to send Bob 50 US dollar. So the application initiates the 3-way transactions. First, Alice to send the application some service fee, maybe 20 cents. And then the payment app will send Alice the transaction amount for the ZEMs. And Alice to send 50 US dollars with the transaction fee of ZEMs. Again, Alice and Bob will receive notification about this transaction. They say agree, and a decentralized swaps happen. All 3 transactions in one transaction. Very, very powerful. Moving on to the second feature, what we call the multi-level multi-sig. So a multi-sig account is basically like a company checkbook. The bank never clears the checkbook unless various signatures are met. So this is like a multi-sig account where in your normal Bitcoin, if you just sign the transaction, it happens. But a multi-sig account ensures security so that no one person can become the main person to control your company funds. Very important. So in this scenario, what you're looking at is that for the first time in crypto, you never have to remember your private key anymore. Very, very powerful. Why? You see the Bob hardware wallet? That hardware wallet will always store your private key, so you don't have to worry about it. You just have to keep it safe with you. Secondly, on the right is another multi-sig account which is attached to your phone and an AI bot. So every time you're making a transaction, you'll make it from your phone, Bob's phone, let's just say. The AI will detect that you're making the transaction from your phone. It will sign on behalf of you. So 2 of 2 is fulfilled, and then the main multi-sig, 1 of 2 is fulfilled, the transaction goes through. Now let's just say Bob loses the phone, what happens? Bob calls the AI bot to stop signing immediately. So anyone who has Bob's phone cannot make the transaction anymore. Now Bob all has to do is take away the second multi-sig and add a new one to attach his new phone and program the bot to sign on behalf of the new phone. So you'll never look at your private key anymore. All you have to do is make sure the hardware wallet is safe. Extending this, let's just say today, instead of using your phone, you use your computer. Most of the time, computer failures are very high because hard disk fails, right? So when the hard disk fails, what happens? You call the right-hand side another multi-sig, which has your mom involved with it, just to help you recover your account. And a third level multi-sig, 3 levels, where your friend your brother or your phone can help you recover the account. So of course, this scenario is quite similar to the first one, but we also wanted to show that mom is the greatest person on earth, right? So she has a lot of control. But here you can actually remove Bob's computer when it has any fault, and you can add in a new computer as part of the multi-sig. So how does this apply, multi-sigs, to the real world scenario? So you imagine the supply chain or manufacturing industry where the manufacturer needs to get paid. So there will be a multi-sig wallet that needs to ensure three process is actually fulfilled before the supplier or the manufacturer gets paid. First, the factory confirmation starts on time. So the first multi-sig or first wallet signs. The second one is the inspection. If the people inspecting the product says yes, the product is qualified, there's no defects, they sign. Usually it may be a combination of digital or human. And then thirdly, you have your shipment. As your shipment is progressing, you have two IoT devices to ensure that the readings are consistent until the shipment is successful. If the IoT device temperature was never tampered with, they will sign and it is successful. So these three requirements, once it's fulfilled, the manufacturer or the supplier will get payment. So again, very, very powerful. So here are some useful links. You can read up about us on nemtech.github.io. This is the documentation of our Catapult service. We have open source our technology. It's at github.com/nemtech. Again, it's all in C++. We have interviews from our developers. So our main developer is Jaguar. The second one is Bloody Rookie, and the third one is Gimra. So 3 developers making the NEM blockchain. They are very, very good at what they're doing. The fourth one you'll see is Alish. Alish actually came up with the SDK framework. So he's a very good programmer for JavaScript, and he came up with a very good framework for all SDKs to follow. And the last one is our Japan partner from Tech Bureau. He's in Japan. His name is Kaizen. So he also contribute to the core code. So please read up more and play around with the technology, because NEM makes blockchain very easy, and you don't have to learn how to write your own blockchain anymore. We are very secure and we're very fast. So with that, terima kasih.